Hello and welcome to part 2 of my Montana adventure. So in the first video I did, I mentioned visiting Glacier National Park, which was a lot of fun. And something that I thought was pretty cool too was the abundance of local coffee businesses in northern Montana. So if you're gonna look to open up a coffee business, you're gonna have a lot of competition. After visiting Glacier National Park, I made my way down to Missoula, Montana. Missoula is home to the University of Montana, and there is an M at the top of the mountain. I ended up hiking and reaching the top of the M, but I was definitely out of breath when I reached the top. The university itself sits on the Missoula River, and I saw a lot of action happening there. People were tubing, kayaking, and even swimming. I am not gonna lie, I only dipped my toes. It was quite cold, but kudos to the people that were swimming. I ended up staying about 40 minutes away from Missoula in a place called Stevensville. And now not too far away from Stevensville was a place called Hamilton, which had a great old-fashioned meat shop called Hamilton Packing Company with all kinds of freshly cut meat. For meat eaters, one thing to keep in mind in Montana is that the prices here were much cheaper than some of the other states I have visited. For example, ground beef was $3.99 per pound, and you had a ribeye steak at $6.99 per pound. The next town past Hamilton was Darby, which is where the TV show Yellowstone was being filmed. The 2,500-acre land is called Chief Joseph Ranch. And when the show is not being filmed, the guest ranch and its cabins are rented out. Continuing on the road, I managed to get the true cowboy experience and go horseback riding with Cowboy Jeff and his dog Rip. The trail was beautiful and the views were picturesque with the mountains located on Rock Creek in the Lolo National Forest. Now you have all kinds of wildlife here, including elk, deer, moose, bears, mountain lions, bobcats, and a large bighorn sheep population. We went first thing in the morning and the weather was perfect. Next on my journey was Deer Lodge, which is home to the Montana Auto Museum, and that's located in the old prison museum gift shop. So Deer Lodge overall was a very quiet stop. Afterwards, I visited Helena, which is the state's capital. The downtown seemed a little bit older. Didn't seem like there was too much going on there. I did manage to stop at a local hot springs on my way out, which was quite relaxing. For those that may not know, the hot springs contain a variety of minerals, including calcium and sodium bicarbonate, which helps with increasing circulation. It also helps with reducing stress and promoting sleep, so a lot of added benefits. The springs pool were kept between 97 to 102 degrees Fahrenheit, and you had your hot tub, which was from 101 to 104 degrees Fahrenheit, and then there were also the cold plunges, which were from 60 to 70 degrees. Before you knew it, I was in Bozeman. Now, there's been quite a bit of talk about Californians moving in, and I've heard some things here and there about the city. I will say, from my perspective, comparing to Missoula and Helena, I preferred Bozeman. I found it to be quite clean and well upkept. The buildings looked newer, and I really enjoyed my time there. Keep in mind I was visiting, so I had a great time, and I would say that Bozeman ended up being my favorite. I stayed in Belgrade, Montana, which is about 5 minutes away from the airport and 15 minutes to downtown Bozeman. Now, about 40 minutes away from Belgrade was the Norris Hot Springs. If that interests you, it was a lot of fun. It was a nice natural setting, and I ended up having some food there as well, which proved to be quite delicious. Near the end of my journey, I ended up entering the famous Yellowstone National Park. Now keep in mind, there were a lot of restaurants and gift shops at the West Yellowstone entrance. Once I was in the national park, I visited Old Faithful, which is one of nearly 500 geysers in the national park, and it's actually one of the 6 that park rangers can actually predict. I ended up waiting for one to erupt, and it was actually pretty cool. There's also the Old Faithful Inn, which is one of the few remaining log hotels in the United States. And there is also a gift shop, visitor center, and a restaurant. I also drove to West Thumb, which has less geyser activity than other basins. However, I still think it was worth it. So Fishing Cone is also known as the Fishing Pot Hot Springs, and it is probably the main feature of the West Thumb Basin. Fun fact here, did you know that Yellowstone contains over 60% of the world's geysers? So that's pretty cool. So there you have it. I tried to give you an overview of some of the places to explore while visiting Montana. I hope you enjoyed my video, and I hope to continue exploring.